By the time she realized what had happened, she was already lying diagonally on top of him, and she could still hear Lu Zixing's triumphant laughter coming from above. Lin Chula never imagined that she had walked down the aisle at the age of 23, let alone that her spouse would be Lu Zixing, a man whose destiny was incompatible with hers. Lin Chula was startled and exclaimed, "What are you doing?" Mr. Lu had just finished taking a shower, was wearing pajamas, and flopped onto the bed with an air of complete entitlement, his tone leaving no room for any discussion. "I've got nowhere to sleep. Can I borrow half your bed?" Lin Chula simply couldn't believe her ears. She walked over, grabbed his arm in a furious rage, and said, "Oh, Lu Zixing, don't you have any shame? Hurry up, get out of here." Lu Zixing remained completely still. With a sudden burst of strength in his arm, he pulled Lin Chula's body toward him, letting it fall onto his chest. Lin Chula was caught completely off guard. By the time she realized what had happened, she was already lying diagonally on top of him, and she could still hear Lu Zixing's triumphant laughter coming from above. If the current Lin Chula is a bomb, then the current Lu Zixing will have nowhere to bury his body. Her face turned red with anger. She immediately got off him, sat down on the other side of the bed, stretched out a slender, pale leg, and with all her might, every ounce of strength she had ever possessed, kicked the smug Lu Zixing right off the bed. The tone was extremely harsh. "Please, abide by the terms of the contract and go back to your room to sleep." Lu Zixing, completely unprepared, sat on the ground, his buttocks feeling slightly sore. You can tell just how much force she put into that kick. Hes just trying to tease her, though, of course. If she's willing, that'd be a happy ending for everyone. Of course, there are no ifs either. Lu Zixing patted his butt and laughed bitterly. Lin Chula, you've got quite a bit of strength, don't you?" Hun smiled cheerfully and said, "Thanks for your compliment. I'm going to bed now. Could you please step out? She really feels like swearing. Damn it, she can't take it another day. How on earth is she supposed to get through those 6 months? Lu Zixing said, "I'm serious. I really do want you to do me a small favor." No way. Lin Chula thought this guy was just too unserious. How could she possibly expect him to say anything sensible? Just helping to make the bed, can't even be bothered to lend a hand with something this small. Lin Chula was utterly speechless. If you can't even make the bed, then who made this bed? I guess the last time when I said I would lay it out was just a lie, really. I was just too lazy to get off my butt. Lu Zixing lied without a trace of embarrassment or guilt. I asked the housekeeper to come over and lay it down. Lin Chula bit her teeth together, remained silent for a moment, then squeezed out a single sentence through clenched teeth. "Fine, it'll help." She bit back her temper and followed him into his room, quickly making his bed for him. Lu Zixing stood aside, watching her fluid and graceful movements, and suggested, "How about you teach me once? Next time, you'll be able to lay it out by myself." Lin Chula thought for a moment and decided the proposal was quite good. If she could teach him, it would save her a lot of trouble. She patiently took the quilt cover apart and taught him step by step. By the end, Lin Chula, still in a good mood, asked gently, "Have you got it now?" Lu Zixing shook his head. No. Lin Chula taught it twice more, but still received Lu Zixing's head shake. Having completely run out of patience, Lin Chula threw up her hands and gave up. Why on earth was she spending a late night teaching a klutz how to make the bed here? Isn't it much more comfortable just to lie down and sleep? Lin Chula threw the quilt onto the bed with a nonchalant air, saying, "You figure it out yourself. I'm going back to sleep." Lu Zixing raised his hand and glanced at his watch. It was almost 11 o'clock. Knowing she had probably been tossing and turning lately because of something, he let it slide and said, "All right, and good night." Lin Chula was indeed tired. She ignored him and went straight back to her bedroom. After lying in bed with her eyes closed for a while, Lin Chula suddenly opened her eyes and sighed. She got up and walked out of the room, only to see that the bathroom light outside was on, and she could hear the sound of running water coming from inside. Apparently, Lu Zixing had just been kicked off the bed by her. And since he found the floor dirty, he went to take another shower. Lin Chula withdrew her gaze and returned to Lu Zixing's room, helping him make the bed before heading back to her own room. Just as I lay down, I heard my phone next to me ring briefly. She took it and glanced at it. It was a message from her mom. Shanwan Chula, are you asleep yet? How have you been thinking about what I mentioned to you last time? Lin Chula's eyes darkened. Does she still need to think about it? Another message came through from over there. Xiao Xiao is a bit older than you, but I've heard HES very family-oriented and knows how to be caring. His family background is also quite good. You should know that we're all doing this for your own good. Wen Chule gave a cold laugh. Is he really only a little older than her? And to think HES doing it for her, no, HES doing it for yourselves, aren't you? She sat up, took the marriage certificate from the nightstand, snapped a photo, and sent it over. Lin Chula, I've never considered it. I'm already married now. Sure enough, the next second, Lin Jianing's phone rang. Lin Chula hesitated for a moment, then pressed the answer button. As she had expected, it was a scolding that came down hard and fast. So, you're really something. Have you grown so confident, huh? Who told you it was okay to get married without our permission? Did we even give our consent? The person on the phone spoke with intense irritation. What's wrong with the guy we introduced you to? He comes from a wealthy family and is an overseas-educated professional. You're marrying him is actually climbing up in the world. How can you be so ungrateful? When Shula gave a slight tug at the corner of her mouth, it was she who had been the one to reach out. She who had been ungrateful and unwise. But who would dare believe that, in the 21st century, there are still people using the parents' decree and the matchmaker's word to shackle the daughter's freedom in love and marriage? Moreover, for all these years, the Lin family has never treated her as their daughter, nor have they ever shown her the slightest bit of care. From a young age, she had known that her grandparents had outdated views and were deeply biased towards sons, desperately wanting a grandson. But what she hadn't expected was that even her own parents were just as bad. The year her younger brother, Lin Chanian, was born, they promptly sent the for-year- sold her to live with her grandmother, and even transferred her household registration there along with her. So just how much did this family hate her enough that even her name wasn't worthy of being listed in the Lin family's household registration book? Now, with their business failing and urgently needing funds, they immediately thought of their daughter, someone they could exploit by arranging her marriage to a man she'd never even met, a man who was a generation older than her. Does she, Lin Chula, really look that easy to bully? Lin Chula held back her tears and said calmly, Yes, it's me who's been to forward me, who was ungrateful and unworthy of him. So no matter what you say, he'll never marry him. You've also seen the picture I just sent you. See, I'm already married. The person on the other end of the phone seemed furious and slammed the table, roaring, Get a divorce from me right now. You say HES so outstanding. Do you think HED want a woman who's been divorced? The line went silent, and Lin Chula's voice was devoid of any warmth to calm. Almost unnaturally so, since you decided to abandon me 19 years ago. Please don't bother my life anymore. Just treat me as if it never existed. After finishing speaking, Lin Chula hung up the phone directly and then blocked all contact information of that family. In the tranquil living room, Lu Zixing slowly walked to the kitchen, opened the refrigerator, took out a bottle of ice water, and tilted his head back to gulp it all down in one go. Her tone was far too calm. She seemed completely indifferent, but he could clearly sense just how deeply she was suffering inside. Lu Zixing bit down hard on his back molars, his fists clenched tightly. The pupils in his eyes were as black as ink, and the darkest, most violent shadows hidden deep within him were suddenly laid bare in an instant. I always remember that. Right before the college entrance exam, HED been in a cold war with Lin Chula for 2 months. Eventually, he just couldn't stand not talking to her for the whole months anymore. So the day after the exam, he decided to go find her and make up. Yet, As soon as she stepped out of the car, I saw her crouching by the roadside like a stray cat that had been abandoned, holding her chest, looking helpless and pitiful. He crouched down in front of her and asked what was wrong. Lin Chula didn't say a word. Instead, as soon as she saw him, she burst into tears. He thought she was angry with him because of their argument, and he felt completely at a loss as he apologized to her over and over again, but her tears just kept flowing without stopping. It was only when Lin Chula, with red-rimmed eyes and tears streaming down her face, burst into sobs and complained to him about why she lost his son, that he suddenly realized something. This was the first time Lin Chula had cried in front of him, and also the first time Had felt his heart being pierced again and again by countless tiny needles. It was an excruciatingly painful sensation, almost as if the pain had spread throughout his entire body, leaving him gasping for air. Even then, he understood that he had to protect her girl and ensure she'd never be hurt again. Not at all. Early the next morning, Lin Chula was awakened by her alarm clock. Today, the company had a photo shoot, and she needed to arrive early to set up the location. She got up and went to the bathroom to wash her face. Looking at herself in the mirror, her complexion pale and dark circles under her eyes strikingly visible, she sighed. I cried for a long time last night, and my eyes are still swollen now. She applied a light, simple makeup to cover herself up, packed her things, and walked out of the room. A noise came from the living room. Lu Zixing, wearing language, was frying eggs in the kitchen. Hearing her footsteps, he turned his head and glanced at her. You're awake. Come over and have breakfast. Lin Chula was taken aback for a moment, looking at the sandwich and hot milk laid out on the dining table, somewhat surprised. She thought that a young master like Lu Zixing would never set foot in the kitchen at all. No thanks. I'm in a hurry, see you later. She grabbed her bag from the entryway and started to change her shoes. Lu Zixing placed the spatula he was holding into the pot, then walked over and snatched the bag from her hand. Let's have breakfast first. I'll take you home. No thanks, it's not on the way. Lin Chula reached out to grab the bag, but he held it high above his head. Lu Zixing, stop teasing me. I'm really going to be late. Who says it's not on the way? Lu Zixing tossed his bag onto the sofa, then took her wrist and gently sat her down on the chair by the dining table. You're my wife now. Isn't taking your wife to work perfectly natural? Lin Chula looked at him, momentarily speechless and unsure how to retort. Lu Zixing picked up the fried egg and placed it into the sandwich, then handed it to her, saying eat. She looked at the breakfast in front of her and felt an inexplicable pang in her heart. For all these years, no one has ever made her breakfast, not even a single word of concern. She picked up the sandwich and took a small bite. The warm bread and sweet egg melted in her mouth, warming not only her stomach but also her heart. Lu Zixing glanced at her profile. Her eyelashes were long and, when lowered, resembled two tiny little fans. The faint dark circles under her eyes still couldn't be completely concealed by her concealer. His Adam's apple twitched. Didn't sleep well last night? Lin Chula's movements paused briefly and she didn't look up. I've been having a bit of trouble sleeping. Does that have something to do with your parents? She tightened her grip on the milk. Did you hear that? Lu Zixing didn't say a word, effectively giving his tacit approval. Lin Chula gave a slight tug to the corner of her mouth, her tone as casual as if she were talking about someone else's business. Nothing much, just urging me to get married, that's all. Lu Zixing looked at her, his gaze profound. Lin Chula, he said. She looked up at him. Don't be afraid, his voice was deep and serious. I'll be here for you from now on. Lin Chula's heart gave a sudden jolt. As if something had exploded inside her, she hastily lowered her head, avoiding his gaze. But hurry up and eat. After you're done, you've still got to take me to work. Lu Zixing glanced at her reddened earlobes, curled his lips slightly, and stopped teasing her. After finishing breakfast, Lu Zixing picked up her bag and said, Let's go, Miss Lin. Lin Chula followed him out of the apartment, watching as he smoothly took her bag and placed it in the passenger seat, then he himself. Then I sat in the passenger seat. Lu Zixing started the car and turned his head to look at her seatbelt. Lin Chula fastened her seatbelt, gazing out the window at the swiftly passing scenery, her mind in a complete mess. Lu Zixing's concern was too obvious, leaving her somewhat overwhelmed. Their marriage was, from the very beginning, a mere contract. So why does he treat her so kindly? Lu Zixing seemed to have read her mind. As he drove, he said, "Don't overthink it. During the duration of our contract, I'll fulfill my responsibilities as a husband, protecting and taking care of you." Lin Chula gave a slight tug to the corner of his mouth and said, "Thanks, Mr. Lu. Call me Lu Zixing, or honey." He raised an eyebrow. Lin Chula's face turned red, and she quickly looked away. Lu Zixing drive carefully. Lu Zixing let out a low chuckle and stopped teasing her. The car soon arrived at the building where her company was located. Lin Chula loosened her seatbelt and said, "Thanks for giving me a ride. He'll head off now." Just as she was about to get off the vehicle, her wrist was grabbed. Lu Zixing looked at her and said, "He'll pick you up tonight, don't wander off." Lin Chula looked at him and nodded, "Got it." She pushed open the car door and had taken just 2 steps when she heard his voice behind her. Lin Chula. She turned around, and Lu Zixing was sitting in the car, looking at her with a gentle gaze. The breakfast was delicious. Lin Chula's heart skipped a beat, her face instantly flushed red, and she turned around, quickly dashing into the company building. Lu Zixing glanced at her departing figure, a smile slowly fading from his lips. He pulled out his phone and dialed his assistant's number. "Help me look up Lin Jianing, Zhang Wan Yu, and that guy with the surname Xiao." After hanging up the phone, he started the car, and the tenderness in his eyes was instantly replaced by coldness. "Anyone who dares to mess with Lu Zixing is asking for trouble."